Hello, it's Stephen. We're live somewhere. That's all I know. I've been trying to get my studio working, and there is a temporary problem. I'm sure it's temporary, but we should be live now. And I'm just checking. Yes, we are. Okay, we're going live on Amazon. If you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, thank you. This is an experimental broadcast, and we've been experimenting for the last 5 minutes. So we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Amazon Live. So Amazon Live, welcome. And we are live at, well, my watch says 10 minutes late. So we'll see what happens on Amazon. Hello, thank you for watching. Okay, today we're going to talk about Barnaby and Stratford-upon-Avon. Now, Barnaby, if I show you Barnaby first of all, I'll go here and here. Barnaby's Perfect Broth is a book by myself and my partner Angelika, which was released last week, and it is on Amazon, it is on TikTok, and it's also on Angelika's shop. So Barnaby's Perfect Broth, that's Barnaby. Barnaby is a turtle, and we're going to be following Barnaby's adventures, and he's actually been, incredibly, Barnaby has been to Stratford-upon-Avon, which is close to where this is. This is Laycock. So we're going to, with Barnaby's help, we're going to take an adventure, and we're going to be looking at Stratford-upon-Avon. If you've not been there, do put it on your bucket list. It is an amazing place to visit, and of course it is the birthplace of William Shakespeare, and it's where he lived throughout his life. So it's a fascinating area to visit. We're going to visit it, but we're going to visit it with Barnaby. So let's get underway. I have to take myself off full screen. And there you are. This is Barnaby's slow journey. Barnaby is a turtle, so he doesn't move very quickly. He doesn't do anything quickly. He's the antithesis of the world we live in now, which is much too fast. And we're going to be looking, with Barnaby's help, at Stratford. Now, Stratford has evolved over the last 800 years. You can see in the centre of the picture is William Shakespeare. Most people know Stratford-upon-Avon because of the connection with Shakespeare and his plays. The town itself has 2 theatres, which we shall visit, and it has grown since over the last 800 years. So let's go and take a look at Barnaby's slow journey through Shakespeare's Stratford. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it one step at a time. Okay, so basically, just so you know, I'm broadcasting from Be.Live, and this is Barnaby's slow journey through Stratford. If you've never been to Stratford-upon-Avon, then you're going to learn a little something about it. Okay. It is slow travel. Barnaby can't travel very fast, but he does get about, and he visited Stratford-upon-Avon, and he is recounting, he's recounting what he actually saw. Okay, so, and this is the High Street, and you can see the Tudor buildings in the background, and the crowds crash. In summer, I lived in Stratford for 13 years. I lived in Stratford for 13 years, and in summer, the crowds throng in by railway, by coach, by car. And it is, you can meet people from all around the world. It is a place which people visit. It's on everybody's list because everybody wants to know about where Shakespeare was born, where he went to church, where he went to school, and all the answers to that are within Stratford-upon-Avon. I used to, because I used to live close by, I used to go on a Saturday and pretend to be a tourist. and you had to be. The thing is that because tourists in their millions visit Stratford-upon-Avon, the quality of the restaurants, the quality of the pubs, and the quality of the food is first class, and the shops, well, all the national chains are there. So this is the High Street. This is Henley Street, and basically it was constructed from local oak. And well, I'm going to put my glasses on, then I can read it at the same time as you do, because you're probably ahead of me now. You're watching Stephen live from wonderful Wiltshire in England, and we are talking about Barnaby the Turtle and Shakespeare. And town is just amazing. And let's go through. If you have any questions about Stratford and you're watching on Amazon, please do ask. I can see your comments in my studio. Now, there you have a young William Shakespeare. And again, you've got the Tudor building in the background. You've got the beautiful garden. And Barnaby is paying homage to the king of English literature. I mean, the thing about Shakespeare is Shakespeare wrote a number of plays. He also invented words. And there are words which we use today, which Shakespeare actually invented all those years ago. There is a market in the town granted by King Richard in 1196. So the town has a market charter which was given by King Richard I in 1196. And Barnaby's shopping for authentic goods, and true heritage cannot be mass produced. So he's after man-made goods as he wanders the market. Now, the market, the people are dressed as they would have been in Shakespeare's time. I like that element of it. And of course, there was fresh food available. No fast food, just fresh food. The Guildhall, which is next to the school, is where people were taught. And rather than having desks like we have today or computers, in those days, pupils sat down on a bench like the one that's in the picture, and they were then taught by the tutor, and they were asked to speak during the course of a lesson. It was a two-way thing. It was the teacher and the individual pupils. And Shakespeare's education took place in Stratford. When in 1597, Stratford was growing, and it was growing quickly, and William Shakespeare went to live at New Place. And this is a representation of the garden as it is today, as it was then, the sculptures. And it is very peaceful. And you can just walk around. You can enjoy, in summer, you can enjoy the plants. Obviously, this is winter. None of the plants are actually flowering. But the whole thing about Stratford-upon-Avon is the culture and the fact that it is a relaxing place to visit. Now, there are plenty of inns. One of the most famous is the Garrick Inn. And as you can see, Barnaby the Turtle is there, sat having a pint, and he's taking his hat off out of respect for everybody. And you can see the world rushing by outside. And Barnaby is quite laid back about everything. He is never in a rush, and you shouldn't be in a rush when you visit Stratford. Stratford is a place to savour. It's a place to just relax and chill and just go round and visit the different places, which I will summarise in a moment. Okay, so continuing through Barnaby's adventures, there's Bancroft Gardens, which everything I'm showing you at the moment is free. Going in a pub is free. Going to Bancroft Gardens is free. The swans of Stratford are famous and plentiful. and you can just go and stand beside the river Avon, and you can watch the swans. Very peaceful thing to do. So we are touring Stratford-on-Avon. I'll do this twice, so if you miss it the first time round, you can go the second time round. You're watching Stephen Healy from Wiltshire in England, but I did live for 13 years in Stratford-upon-Avon, hence my fascination with the town. Now, this is interesting. You have a river which runs through Stratford, and there is a bridge across the river. But as you walk down the riverside, you're actually getting further and further away from the bridge. And that means if you want to go to the other bank of the river, you don't want to swim, but there's nowhere to get across until they actually installed this. And this is a chain ferry. Now, a chain ferry is man-powered. Okay, and basically you can take about a dozen people across the river at a time. There's a chain which goes across the river, and then you can see the winding handle there. They wind the chain in so that the boat is powered across the river. And it is quite an experience because you are crossing a very deep river, and it's just, but you're actually in the middle of nowhere. You're actually not on the left bank, you're not on the right bank, and you're just enjoying the surrounds, because Stratford is in beautiful Warwickshire countryside, and it is a chance, whilst you're taking a 10-minute ferry, well, say 5 minutes, you've got to get on, you've got to wait, and it takes 5 minutes for the journey, but 10 minutes in total. And it's just such a peaceful way. It's one of the few chain ferries which are still operational, and it is in Stratford-upon-Avon, and it works exactly as shown in the picture. The church is the Holy Trinity Church, which was established 400 years ago. Now, the church itself, again, like most things in Stratford, is free to enter. You can walk down the central aisle to the altar. As you're walking down, it is a living church, by the way. Services are held every Sunday in the morning, in the evening, and you can join the service if you're there at the right time. But the other thing is about the Trinity Church, it was the church that Shakespeare went to, and it's also the church in which Shakespeare was buried. And his tomb, as you go down to the altar and you look on the left-hand side, there is Shakespeare's tomb, which is inscribed, and I should remember the words, but I don't. I should check them out for next time I do this broadcast. But the church itself, built 400 years ago, and you can explore the church. You can get a feel for what it was like in Shakespeare's time. And it's just, again, it's tranquil. It's like going across the river. It's quiet, which is a good thing in these fast days. And Barnaby's just taking a break to pay respects. The Royal Shakespeare Theatre was built in the 1960s, and basically Barnaby's looking out over Stratford town, and the theatre has Shakespeare's plays running every single week of the year, and you can go and watch a play by Shakespearean actors. And I have been to see Jean-Luc Picard, who was in The Merchant of Venice, and it's just special. You're in the place where Shakespeare was born. They are performing one of his plays as he wrote it, and to be watching Jean-Luc Picard on stage in Stratford was just a magical 2 hours. I have to say, my son and daughter-in-law treated me to a birthday treat, and the birthday treat was to actually go to the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. Now, there are two theatres in Stratford. There's a little theatre and there's a big theatre, and you can watch performances at both. and make it part of your day. Go for a full day. I'll give you a guide to a day out in Stratford in a moment and the things that you must actually see. So let's go on to the next slide. And just from a turtle's point of view, walk slowly around the streets. There is so much to see and so much to actually, where you can get lost because you're actually stepping back in time. These are Tudor houses and they are immaculately maintained, and you can walk down the street and it's a cobbled street. Not all streets are tarmac. And most people go to Stratford for Shakespeare. They also go for the music. There's a very vibrant music scene, and there are also plenty of shops to actually visit. And the food is delicious. You've got every cuisine under the sun. Because millions of people visit Stratford-upon-Avon every year, it has everything you need. It is a resort, but it's not been overly commercialized. It's not been spoilt, I suppose, in my way of thinking. It's just a joy to actually walk through the town. And slow travel means let the world rush around you and take quick photos and instant history, but otherwise you could do mindful observation and deeper learning of everything that's around you. Spend time looking around. And standing still, you can watch the world go by on Henley Street. And literally, as I say, I used to play the tourist on Saturdays, and you've got visitors from the States, from Japan, from Italy, from France, from Germany, you name a country, and there's somebody from that country actually visiting Stratford-upon-Avon. I think we've gone around twice now. Let me just go. Have I pressed the wrong button? So that was the last page. Walk slower, look deeper. Okay, so that's Barnaby's view and Barnaby's approach. Now, if I go over here, I should be able to find some more information about Stratford. I'm going to go over here and just give me a moment. I'm going to show this full screen. Just a second. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to show this full screen whilst I'm beavering away in the background. This is Stratford-upon-Avon, and what we're looking for is somewhere down here. And let's see if we can find it. I think I found it. Okay, so let's take that off full screen, and I can show you this, and that will be that one. Okay, so this is 24 hours in Stratford. What can you do in 24 hours in Stratford? Well, you can visit Shakespeare's birthplace, which we were close to earlier, and you do that at 10 o'clock. Then at 12 o'clock, you can go to the schoolroom and the new place, which is where Shakespeare was taught and where he lived in the last 19 years of his life. You can have your lunch on Sheep Street, and then you can do a riverside pilgrimage, go across on the boat, across on the chain link thingy. Then you can visit Anne Hathaway's cottage, which is where Shakespeare's wife spent most of her time. Then the main event is to go to the theatre in the evening. And these figures, 2018, 2.25 million people went there for the day, and 290,000 people stopped overnight. And I think that it has grown a lot since then. So basically, you can take the solo off that. And I'm just going to hide. Oh, let's bring this on. I'm just going to hide a few things. Let me hide that. Let me hide that. And we'll bring this up on screen. Okay. And Okay, this is Stratford-upon-Avon, and this is a non-Barnaby part of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that, and we're going to come back, and I'm just going to move that over there. Okay, so this is the timeline of Stratford. This is how Stratford developed. Okay, and it started in the 7th century from a river ford to the 21st century global stage. The evolution of a market town, its origins were in Roman times to the 7th century. Then in 1196, the king, Richard I, gave them a market charter and the medieval market opened. Then era 3, the Tudor Renaissance from 1553 1616. 1769, the birth of Barnaby Oratory. I've got to look that one up. The industrialization took place from 1793 onwards. The paradox of why is it so popular? And, of course, in the present day, you have the theatre. The river crossing we've talked about was established in the 7th century, and it does divide the town. It's the River Avon, and in the 9th century, a Saxon monastery marked the original settlement known as Old Town. And Avon is the old word for river. The town was invented, and this is a bit like a Roman town, because what you have is you have a grid layout of the streets. And once King Richard I granted the market charter, the town started to boom, because all the farmers from all around brought their produce and their cattle and sheep for sale. Stone for the construction of the church in the year 1210, and then the bridge, which was sponsored by the mayor, Lord Mayor of London, Hugh Clopton, and it's a 14-arch bridge. Now, this divides one part of Stratford from the other, and it does get congested. They haven't got an answer to that yet. They're still working on a traffic plan for the town. You can walk across it, or you can drive across it. Shakespeare went to school in the grammar school, and you can still go into the grammar school right now. It is a working school, so it's only open for set hours, but you can actually go and visit. Yeah. And the Bard was born on Henley Street. We had a drawing of Henley Street earlier, and its local materials: oak from the Forest of Arden and stone from Wilcote, which is close to Stratford. As I said earlier, buried in the chancel of the Holy Trinity Church, alongside Anne Hathaway and his family. He was interred there because he was the lay rector who actually owned shares in the church, or a share of the church's tithes. All right, David Garrick started, a famous actor and playwright, started a 3-day Jubilee festival which continues to this day, and it's called, I'm just looking for the name, Bardolatry. Okay, and the town grew and grew, and of course the advent of canals and railways and industrial connectivity all helped the town to grow. Links between Stratford and London, Stratford and Birmingham, and it became a Victorian tourist attraction, and we still go there in our millions now. Shakespeare Memorial Theatre, the original Gothic structure was destroyed by fire, so it was replaced, and the new theatre opened in 1932. That's the one we saw earlier in one of Barnaby's drawings. It is a modern cultural hub. It's where the Royal Shakespeare Company was founded in 1961 by Peter Hall. It's transformed to a 1,000-seater stage, and the other place, which is where I've been to, was founded in 1974, and it's an experimental theatre So 2 theatres in Stratford to go. So you've got to go for at least 2 days, 1 night at each theatre. Between 2.5 and 6 million people visit annually. These are current figures. Tourism supports 3 out of 10 jobs. So 30% of the income of Stratford-upon-Avon is from jobs. Okay, now I've just highlighted down the carousel Barnaby's Perfect Broth, and this is Barnaby's Perfect Broth. It's on Kindle and it's available. If you click the link down the carousel, then you'll get an invitation to purchase and you'll see Barnaby's own page. Okay, the housing crisis. The house prices are high, £330,000. That's about $450,000 against the Midlands average, which is about 2/3 of the price. So to solve the congestion, it handles 21,000 vehicles a day. The centre has been pedestrianised. Low carbon buses are being used, and the reinstallment of more rail routes, which is a good idea. And that's a living timeline of Stratford-upon-Avon. It is one of my favourite places. As I say, I lived there for 13 years and got to know it extremely well. Visited the theatre, visited everywhere that's around the area. And I thought when I started this has all come about because of Barnaby. Barnaby didn't exist in January. Barnaby was created by myself and Angelika, and he's now becoming a tour guide. And we've got all sorts of plans. In fact, I have. So last week we went to Burnley, which is where I was born. This week we're in Stratford-upon-Avon, and I don't know where I'm going next week. I've got an inkling that it might be Devizes. And basically, Barnaby can go everywhere. Okay, so I've got a few pictures, and I'm just going to bring them up one by one, and you can take a look. So we go here. I'm still here, but the pictures are here now. So you can Stratford in 24 hours. Although because there are 2 theatres, I would suggest that you actually do 48 hours. Remember to take your time going around the town. Yeah, and if I go here, have I broken it? No, not broken it. There we are. Okay, so take a slow journey through Shakespeare's Stratford, and your guide today has been Barnaby. Barnaby is the star of an ebook which is featured in the carousel today. But the graphics are just beautiful. I'm going to go through the book, this again. I had help creating this, has to be said. But there you see the statue of the jester, and you see the birthplace of Shakespeare is in the background. It's one of those oak constructed buildings. Barnaby obviously couldn't meet Shakespeare, but if he had, he would have paid total respect to him. And this is, in actual fact, a replica of how a garden would have looked in the 16th century. Market Square. The market was given to Stratford in 1196 by King Richard I, and Barnaby's there, and he is looking for authentic handware craftwares made by local Warwickshire artisans. Guildhall is basically for the teaching. You can see the tutor, and then all the pupils sat on benches, no desks, and they had to, well, rather than writing things down, they actually, Aristotle's style, talked about them. This is basically in 1597, Shakespeare moved to the new place, and you can see a recreation of the garden in the background. Again, you can visit all year round. Garrick basically Stratford is famous for its ales and for its taverns, and you can sit in a tavern, and if on a rainy day, sit in a tavern. On a beautiful sunny day, sit outside. Sorry, just the contrast between Barnaby's approach to life and the approach everybody's running around like outside. Bancroft Gardens is a place to visit, and the swans have a quiet, unhurried grace which Barnaby the Turtle appreciates. And the 5-minute chain ferry, basically, you've got two sides of the river bank. It's too wide to swim, and if you're a tourist, you don't want to swim. It's too far to walk back to the bridge, so you catch the chain ferry, which is coins to actually use. It is payable, but it's worth it just for the experience. The church, the Holy Trinity Church, was a church of which Shakespeare was a chaplain, and he is buried in the church. It is a beautiful place and a place to actually pay your respects. He's buried in the chancellery. And then when you've ended the day, you can go to the Royal Shakespeare Theatre and you can go to the balcony and you can watch the world all around you. So, you've been watching Barnaby and Stratford-upon-Avon. You've been watching on. We're back again next week. We'll be Barnaby was somewhere else. I don't know where. And this video, if you're watching on Amazon, brilliant. Thank you very much. If you want the Kindle version of the ebook, then just press the button down below and you'll get all the information that you need. Thank you for watching me today. You've been watching Stephen live from wonderful Wiltshire in England. It's been my pleasure to be broadcasting today and to tell stories. And that's what it's all about. So thank you, take care, and goodbye for now. That's a wrap.